Here we are live from Spectrum Wine, live construction happening behind us. Well, in front of us, actually. You can't see it because Patrick expertly set up the shop, so you can't see the complete mayhem behind us, but we are working diligently to get the new retail space opened for you. Will be happening shortly. We are excited. In the meantime, do you really know the Napa Valley? Big place, Napa Valley, full of wine. You may think you know all the Napa Valley, but in fact you don't. We don't either. I've been doing this for 35 years. I don't know all the vineyards. I don't know all the producers. There's a lot of them. Case in point, Enrique Lopez, Encanto Vineyards. Enrique, originally from Michoacan, shout out, Michoacan, and came to Napa, probably late 90s, and immediately found work in the vineyards, of course, and then beyond that, he always had an eye towards winemaking as well. Ended up hooking up with Warren Winiarski, Stag's Leap Wine Cellars, and began a career of vineyard consulting, vineyard management, and modern American success story. What America's about, right? Anyway, that's a topic for a different time. But this is what America's really, really about. And Enrique started his own label in 2001 called Encanto Vineyards. Very small label, just using grapes, working with guys that he worked with from a farming standpoint. Very small production, tiny production. And it's almost like he didn't want to be a household name. You know, some of these cats, they got their vineyard consulting business. This is a side gig. It's fun. It's cool. They make their wine. They share it with friends. They sell a little bit. You know what I mean? There is that group of folks up in Napa that roll that way. They're not about getting their name in the paper. They're not about 98 points from Wine Spectator. That's not their gig. It's not their vibe. And we were really fortunate to come across a beautiful cache of older Cabernets that Enrique had cellared himself and is now like re-releasing into the market. And he knows people. He's been in the vineyard business for 25 years. In this case, we hand selected this 2013 Rutherford Cabernet from the Usabelli Ranch. Now, Usabelli is a name you might not know, but they make great wine at Usabelli. And wineries like Sanctuary, Scattered Peaks use the grapes, as well as Enrique. Heart of Rutherford, probably east side of Silverado Trail, I'm guessing. So east side of Silverado Trail as you're heading north on the Silverado Trail. And, we didn't know what to expect. We never heard of Encanto. So the sales rep brought in the wines we taste, and we're like, okay, Encanto, okay, who's this guy, blah, 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 blah. And he poured us a glass of this stuff. And we were like, damn. This brought back memories of this deal we did in the late 90s for a bunch of 84, 85, 87 vintage Cabernets from the likes of Inglenook, like their cask wines, Jerry Looper, this sort of deal. And this wine brought back immediate memories of that style with those Jerry Looper wines. Perfectly mature, so tender, so refined, sweet tannin, beautifully executed. This wine shocked the hell out of us, to be perfectly blunt. We didn't know what we were expecting. And what we got was deliciousness. Pure frigging deliciousness. 2013, by the way, is a great, great frigging year. One of the best years ever for Napa Valley Cabernet. And this wine seals that. It cements that. This is a guy that nobody knows from a vineyard that people might not be aware of, but the vintage is putting its stamp on. That powerful, sweet fruit. The wine is evolving at a snail's pace. At 12 years old, it's still vibrant, but the secondary characters are starting to creep in. This wine just, like I said, it shocked us. Like, we just looked at each other like, what the ham? What a treat. What a treat. Just drinking perfectly right now. This wine is, like to use a music term, is in the pocket. When the bass player and and the drummer are just like in the zone, and this wine's in that pocket. He currently sells it on his site for like $95. Considering single vineyard, Rutherford cab from a great vintage with 12, almost 13 years of bottle age, that's a hell of a deal. He aged this for you. He did all the work. Paid the storage, huh? Paid the storage, paid this, paid that, made the wine, cellared it perfectly. For you guys, $49.98. So $50 a bottle for serious, premium, single vineyard Rutherford Cabernet. Does it matter to you who it is? We're here to tell you this wine is banging. And Enrique Lopez, whether he made the wine or at the time, he also had Rudy Zadema was working for him. I don't know who made this wine exactly. Details are sparse. What I can tell you is what's in the bottle is straight friggin' fire. What a deal. I highly encourage you to grab a few bottles for your holiday drinking this year. Again, he did all the work for you. No cellaring required. Beautiful Cabernet, great vintage, single vineyard, basically half price. Click and buy this wine. What a find. Like us, subscribe, you know what to do.